Alright, let's make us a corn mash sour whiskey. I ran my corn whiskey last night, saved my wash in the still. I've reheated it to 200 degrees. I've got my cornmeal sitting here in a bucket and 5 pounds of dextrose sugar. You will need dextrose sugar, which is a powdered sugar. It's actual corn sugar. It's processed corn sugar, which is what you make when you make whiskey. You can use any regular sugar, but if you're going to make a traditional corn whiskey, you will want to use corn sugar. Makes sense to me. Anyway, here's a little bit of my fermented corn mash and dextrose sugar. I've already actually mixed those in the bucket. I've got the still warmed up to let's cool down to 190. There's the beast right there. Anyway, we'll go ahead and pour this in our bucket. I've got already mixed up my sugar on top, and pour the hot water in. It'll dissolve instantly, and then we'll let that sit and simmer naturally for about 2.5–3 hours till the temperature comes down on its own. It's kind of chilly in here, so I don't imagine it'll take more than a couple hours. But once it's down to 190, sorry, not 190, when it's down to about 90, I'll go ahead and pitch my yeast, and there you go. That is your sour mash run. Let it ferment for as long as it takes, probably about a week, week and a half is what it normally takes me, and run it again. You have a delicious sour mash whiskey. That's all it takes. Alright, thanks guys. Appreciate it. Have a good one. Let me know what you think. Alright, we got them heated in the buckets. Floating. I'm not sure what that means with those that cornmeal that's floating. Most of it has not floated, sunk. I've never really had any left over. I just stirred that, so there's quite a bit more than what was in that little film there. There's probably about 7 or 8 times that much. Normally I don't have that. Normally I have just a little bit, kind of like what you've seen there, floating. So which makes me think that I did not boil that mash long enough. I didn't get all the sugars out of it, left some natural starches in there. What it is the starch is a sugar molecule. It's just too big for yeast to eat. So you heat your mash in water to 165, and you hold that temperature for a few hours, and it breaks down the starch molecule small enough that your yeast can eat it. So I'm really thinking that I didn't get that quite done last time, which might have contributed to my lower than normal yield. Anyway, so when I kind of screwed the pooch this time on putting in my sugar, I didn't get my scale zeroed properly, so what I had thought was 5 pounds wasn't. So I went ahead and checked it, used my refractor. If you guys haven't got one of these or don't use one of these, they're fairly cheap. I think it's like 35–40 bucks on Amazon. Very handy for letting you know how much sugar you have in there, and if you find a recipe that you like, or make your own recipe that you like, and you want to reproduce that exact same thing every time so you're making a consistent product, you really need a refractor. So find your recipe and your yield that works out best for you, and everything you're happy, and say you had 15 bricks, you bump it up to 20, and you don't end up with quite the same thing. You know, maybe you've got a little residual sugar left over. Well, you can measure exactly with this. So you bump it back down to 15 bricks, and then you can keep your recipes exact every time. So when you find that one that just works out great for you and everybody loves it, you can duplicate it every time. So being as I screwed the pooch on how many pounds to put in, I always put in by pound, and then I tweak it up to about 17–18 bricks according to this. So that's what I broke down and just added sugar until I had 18 in the one bucket and 14 in the other, and we'll just see what that works out. I'll keep it noted in my little diary or whatever, and we'll go from there. We'll let you know how that all turns out. Maybe I'll make a whole new video when I run this one between those two batches. See what that really makes. I usually land right on 20 for bricks. I've gone less, I've gone more. It seems like 20 works out real well for me. If any of you other people have advice on that, go ahead and leave a comment. I'd really like to hear what's working well for other people. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and let that finish cooling down, and then I'll pitch my yeast, and maybe when I filter that out, I'll go ahead and filter it, make a video when I strain this out. I'm going to go ahead and show you the buckets I use. I'm a beekeeper, so I'm using my beekeeping buckets. Are food grade, 6 gallons. You can go buy a brew bucket for $30, or you can buy a high quality, and I mean a high quality food grade bucket and lid for $10. It's the same goddamn thing. Save the money, buy the food grade buckets. Don't go to Walmart. You're not going to get a good bucket at Walmart. Go to a food storage store and buy a really heavy grade bucket. You can feel the difference. They're literally twice as thick. Damn good buckets. But I've got in mine these honey gates. Oh, I made a mess on the floor pouring my water. Let me mop that up real quick. Alright. These honey gates down in the bottom here of my bucket. You can buy those from a honey or beekeeping supply store. I have no idea what I paid for them, but every one of my buckets has one in it. It's just for pouring honey. But when I sift that off, I will take a brew bag and line the inside of a bucket with it, set it underneath this, and just open that gate. Dumps everything into it. Then I can filter off all of this corn mash, and then I'm ready for my still, ready to make a run. Works very well. I don't have to try to siphon it off. I don't have to try to any of that crap. Pour it out, make a big huge fucking mess. Just go ahead and open up your gate, pours in the bucket, you get everything, bam, easy peasy. Just a little helpful hint on that one. Alright guys, thanks for watching.